All of the clips that are going to be shown on here are of me without a warm-up playing different aim lab scenarios. In order to record this video, I moved my monitor back to the edge of my desk and set up a camera which picked up the pad. I then enlarged the mouse cam so that it would be the focus of the video and not my gameplay being the focus of the video. So everything you will see and hear is raw and unbiased. I'm not sponsored by SKYPAD, and this is one of my first reviews ever. This is my complete first impression, not a review, and it's definitely not in depth as some first impressions might be, but this is as in depth as I can get. It's hard for me to simplify some of the concepts that I mentioned because of experience in aiming, but I can say that after I've had some time to experience the pad, it's going great. And I mean, I figured it would, especially after all the user reviews, but it's going great. And this could be me being a beginner in the peripheral review journey, or it could be the fact that I just like the SKYPAD or hard pads. But I've never really experienced other pads. I've used two pads, one from Walmart and one from my college, and the one from my college is a Kingston, and the one from Walmart is a nameless brand that you wouldn't be able to know. Both cloth pads, both kind of just average run-of-the-mill pads that don't have like a focus on speed or focus on control, focus on anything. It's just average. So I'd also like to preface some issues that I have. This is just me personally with the pad and why I sometimes suck with it. It's because I'm using a wired mouse that is a Cooler MM710, which is old, and B, that there's no skates on this mouse practically. It's just worn down, and there would be stock skates. It's not anything I put on myself. So those are some prefaces before we get deeper into this. So we're going to start off with Gridshot, which I felt like I was sliding around like it felt like an ice rink. I couldn't really control which direction I was sliding. But after about an hour of usage, this is not being shown in any clips really, I was rid of this feeling, but on the first playthrough there was a different feel to everything about my aim. It was just 100% different. This most likely is caused by me not using a glass pad or a hard pad before. I felt fast as frick and was able to do smooth resets and movements that I don't think can be accomplished on a cloth pad. And then I moved on to reactive track. I wanted to try one of the more difficult kinds of tracking first, and that being raw reactive, just so that you could see all the flaws in my aim on this pad on day one. I was very unsmooth, and I've practiced throughout my aim journey to release all tension when aim training for a long period of time, unless I need it, and then I just balance it. On reactive, I try to have close to zero tension in my hand and arm, and in this clip you can see that clearly I wasn't able to smoothly react or smoothly track because of my lack of training on the pad and lack of tension. I ended up adding tension in future runs on day 2 and it ended up looking very good, but I will say that having to change how you aim and having to change some of the things in your day-to-day basis like tension, it's a small adjustment, but some might not ever realize it, so I could see that being a problem for some beginners who want to use this pad. And then I moved on to an easy XY track. It's just one of the ranked ones, and in the clip you can see glimpses of me starting to understand how to use the pad, and that is also due to the scenario just being easy. Still the same issues as reactive tracking. And then to finish it off, I did a mass aim click. I knew it would also point out something else I noticed while using the pad, and that being my lack of control. I had terrible control all throughout day 1 of use of the SKYPAD. Me noticing this caused me to remember a statement I had heard from multiple people in the aim community and just the collegiate community that I'm surrounded by. This being that the SKYPAD takes a long time to get used to, and some go as far to say that it took them a month to get used to it. I believe this to either be a user error or a placebo. I say this because I'm a complete amateur and I was able to adapt to the pad rather quickly, especially after breaking it in that first day. So with the SKYPAD 3.0 extra large in Overwatch, I was feeling like really good on my flicks, especially when I was playing Widowmaker. And the clip that you're watching right now, I'm playing Cassidy, because the original clip where I like went in there kind of like first impressions had really bad audio, and it also had really bad, like, the camera cut out for some reason on my hand cam. So that's why it looks like this right now, and it's audio I'm voicing over it. So what I had said was in my first impressions of it is that my flicks felt really good on Widow, but there was one thing I really wanted to try, and that was to slow down my sensitivity, because I felt like I lost a lot of control at fast sensitivity, but you know, I can make fast flicks, and I didn't want to over tension all the time, and that would be a problem with me if I used like what was 20 centimeters per 360. So I used my 20 centimeters per 360, and that was really fast. So in this clip right now where I'm at, I switched to Widowmaker, and I do the same thing. I think I swapped to 6 here, and then I don't, and I make a silly comment. I'm like, oh, that didn't feel any different. That's because I didn't apply it. But 6 felt good, like, and that's I think around 20 for 800 DPI, 20 centimeters. And then for tracking though, it felt terrible at 6, and that was simply because like this was the first day on the pad. I really wanted to really hone in the first impressions. I've played more since then, and the tracking feels fine. I mean, you just have to be smoother, but I wanted the capability to constantly reset, and you don't get that whenever you're at fast senses. You just don't need to reset, and I felt like resetting on this pad was really amazing. Like, it felt good and easy. There was no tension, really fast. So I think that's a bonus that most people won't end up talking about, is like your capability to reset just goes up. So you'll see me once I swap to fast senses, like my hand just doesn't really move, like, and it's only when I'm like flicking far right or flicking far left that it moves. So we had that, and I swapped to soldier on the other clip. I don't know if it'll be in this one, but I had put in there, and the tracking looked really bad. And today, which is my second day using the SKYPAD, when I'm going over this, finishing my first impressions, not really a full-fledged review, I noticed that my smoothness was really good on soldier today, because I've just smoothed out the pad, I've broke it in, feels good. I hit a lot of clips flicking, and they all look amazing. I will say that first impressions, this, like I said, day 2, I play Valorant today. I don't play a lot of Valorant in general, but my flicks were like looking extra crispy. Like, I'd flick to the left. If I get control down on the flicks, it would look really good. And so, like, if you're a content creator, it just makes you look good, makes you look pretty. I mean, you could always just turn up your sense and do that, but or cut out frames if you're like Liar OW or something. You can do that, but keeping it in our realm, I looked good, but I'm not as good as the pad makes me look sometimes. I'm not saying, once again, it's not a magic pill. It doesn't do anything special for you. It doesn't make you any better, but there are certain strengths it has, and it's definitely speed, obviously. Getting control is a mouse control thing, like your own personal mouse control. It's not really going to be up to the pad. You could have a slow pad, but I feel like the faster you are, the more you push yourself to be in control of your hand and your mouse, whereas a slow pad kind of just lets you be lackadaisical. On that note, like, addressing another thing that I read is that people feel like using the SKYPAD takes a long time to get used to, like up to a month, 2 months to get used to it. I can't see that being a possibility, as I'm on day 2, and I do aim train a lot, but compared to like the average gamer, even though I'm good and I do esports, a lot of my stuff is focused on improvement, so that's why I get better. But I don't play as much as an average person who would consider them like an esports professional or an esports amateur. I don't play as much as they would. So I'm able to, in 2 days, if I'm able to pick up on the pad, then surely average Joe is able to pick up on the pad in 2 to 5 days, you know, or a week or 2 weeks. Where that might come into play is that you realize not that the pad is the thing that you need to break in, or that the pad takes time to get used to it. It's you realize you've been playing on 60 centimeters per 360 and you have never had to like control yourself. You just kind of glide around really slowly and you hit shots sometimes. And on this pad, I don't think that's possible. I think it's better to play slow sensitivity on this pad, but I don't think it's the... I mean, it's personal, but I think I like slow senses on this because I get to reset really easily and really fast, so I can play on slow senses. Whereas on a cloth pad, I would struggle to reset just because of the tension on the pad. You know, not as much freedom. To summarize my first impressions on the SKYPAD, I would say the following. pad is smooth and fast. The learning curve was evident in my early struggles with control and smoothness, particularly in scenarios like reactive track and easy XY track, but the learning curve wasn't time intensive. As I pushed through the initial discomfort and adapted my technique, the pad revealed its potential. The speed and precision is achieved, especially in scenarios like Gridshot, hinted at a different level of performance, leaving me eager to explore its capabilities further. And I thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for a more in-depth review after further exploration and experience with the SKYPAD. I hope you guys check back in for that. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.